I get discouraged for sure, and I will quit fighting at some point. And that point is when the first shovel of dirt hits the top of my box 6 feet down.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Convention of States Indiana Live, COS Indiana Live. My name's Dale Parrish. I am the virtual program coordinator for Convention of States here in Indiana. And I want to welcome you to our broadcast tonight. We've got another great broadcast lined up for you this evening. But right now, I want to bring on my co-host, Mr. Ken Kashuba. Hello, Ken.
Hi, Dale. How are you?
Good to see you.
You too.
Ken is our SCC. That stands for State Communications Coordinator for the state of Indiana. And Ken, among his many duties tonight, will be monitoring the comments and questions from our viewers. So if you are viewing tonight, use the chat section to enter any question or comment that you might have, and Ken will put them up if it is applicable, and we'll address it at that time. I see we already got some comments coming in, Ken. So
yeah, good to see those early risers hit the show early. That's for sure.
Those are good. Okay. Good. Well, Ken, tonight is broadcast number 219, and You've been on board for 84.
Doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, closing in on that 100 mark for you.
Making the move.
Okay. Well, Ken, I want to give you a little time here. Tell us about this QR code up here in the right-hand portion. Upper right hand of the
this one right up there.
That one right up there. Tell us a little bit about that.
We are, as you know, COS Indiana Live. We are a live streaming channel here in Indiana, trying to bring across news of the state as well as some national news. And the program we would like to see get expanded and get some broader attention. So we are welcoming people that would like to subscribe to go ahead and use that QR code. Just point your phone at it and put in your name and your email address, and we'll get you a subscription email that will come out that will let you know future programming. Will along with a subscription to our newsletter if you're not already subscribed to that. So you'll get all the information you need about the state and what we're doing here at COS Indiana Live.
All right, good. We want to see that list grow, and it is growing. So.
Yep.
Please, everyone, pay attention to that. We'll touch on it again later on the broadcast, but just wanted to remind everybody about that. Well, my first guest this evening is a young lady from the state of Michigan, and she is the state director from the state of Michigan, Sara Santana. I think you're going to enjoy meeting her, and let's bring her on right now, Ken. Hello, Sara.
Hey.
Good. Welcome to COS Indiana Live, Sara.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, as we said, Sara, you are the state director for Convention of States Michigan. How long have you been in that role?
About a year, just over a year.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, tell us a little bit about your early life. As if Ken, she's half our age, I think, but she still, I think, had an early life. tell us a little bit about your early life. What did you do before Convention Estates?
Well, I am a wife and a mother of 6. I am a homeschool mom. And I started out in California. That's where I was born and raised. And we made our trek to the Midwest and ended up here in Michigan. So it's been an
Really,
exciting
you're from California, really?
originally
Where?
Southern California.
Are you really? Oh.
Yeah.
What brought you to Michigan?
Oh, my husband's work.
Work? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in case you missed what she just said, I'm going to touch on this. She is the mother of 6 children, folks, and you homeschool all these kids, right?
Yes.
Ken, I'll tell you, we've already said this, but this is challenge coin material.
It sure is. It sure is. Anybody who can birth 6 children and just look as youthful as Sara does. I don't. She's got a secret somewhere. She could probably making some money off of that somewhere.
I don't know about challenge coin, but it is definitely a challenge. We'll go there.
Folks, the challenge coin is the highest individual award that Convention Estates has right now. Ken and I are both recipients, and there have been a number of them, but yeah, Sara, I think you're on your way to get a challenge coin. But real quickly, what grades do your 6 children span?
I have everything from 9th grade down to 2nd year preschool.
Good Lord.
We're doing algebra 2, and we're doing learning to read.
Amazing.
God bless you, Sara. I tell you. God bless you. All right. Well, Sara, I always ask my guests, my COS leadership guests, to tell us your COS story, not your life story, but your, how, when, where you learned and came about getting involved in COS.
Well, I first saw information about COS as a young mom on Facebook, and I'd see the ads pop up, and I remember seeing them repeatedly for a number of months and judging them harshly and scrolling past them and thinking that looks like a horrible idea. And then I decided that if I would, yes, oh, absolutely. I'm like, I love my Constitution. I don't want anyone messing with my Constitution. That sounds like, and I'd never heard the phrase runaway convention, but it was that concept was what came to mind when I would see the ads. Decided that with my character, if I was going to judge it, I should actually know what it was. So I clicked on it and I did my research, and I became a solid believer that Convention Estates was the way to go. But it was many years after that before I realized you could become a volunteer, and that there were things you could do that you didn't have to spend a ton of time doing that I might be able to do. And so I want to say it was 2.5 years ago, I decided it was time that I did something, and I'd heard about these handwritten letters. And so I decided I would sign up to be a volunteer activist and then ask someone to tell me who I was supposed to write and what their address was.
Okay.
And their response was to say, well, would you be a district captain? And I said, 6 children, lots of responsibility, no time. You've got to have someone better qualified. And they said, we're desperate. Will you pray about it? So I became a district captain. And then about 2 months later, I must have done something right, because they said, well, will you be a regional captain? So I became a regional captain. And then about 6 months after that, we had someone step down from leadership, and we ended up in a situation where we needed to form a leadership team. So I became part of the leadership team. And about 6 months after that, I was asked to become the state director. I want to point out the only thing I volunteered to do was write a, and I still haven't done it because I just went and met with them in person. So that's my COS story.
Sounds like you did a lot of. Sounds like you did a lot of praying, Sara.
A lot of praying, a ton of praying. Yes, every step of the way.
Did this process start while you were in California, or did this all happen in Michigan?
I believe that I first, all the volunteering happened in Michigan. I think I first heard about Convention Estates when I was living in Illinois.
Oh, in Illinois. Oh, okay.
I've had a few pops along the way.
Yeah, evidently, yes.
That's almost like living in California without the nice weather.
Yeah.
God has a sense of humor. He took me from Michigan to Illinois to Michigan.
He was grooming you.
He has a huge sense of humor.
Well, we joke about California being so liberal, but we actually have a pretty strong convention of states group in California. Unfortunately, they're up against a pretty hard front to overcome there. But as far as I know, we have I've met the state director there, and I know we have a pretty strong group there. But anyway, you got here to God's country, and you found Convention of States. Huh?
I did.
All right, good. Well, I was going to ask you about the different roles that you've performed in Convention of States, but you mentioned most of them here, and that's your progression is kind of typical. You do this kind of the same thing happened to me. I volunteered to do something. Then I'm asked to do something and I do it. And then, hey, you want to become a district captain? And you do something else. And, hey, we need a region captain. And it just kind of goes that way. But I think it's certainly good that a state director had go through the different roles like you've done. So how long were you a district captain?
I was technically a district captain for 2 months before I became a regional captain. Now I kept the role for much longer because we didn't have someone else that was going to step in. And technically I still function as a regional captain as well as state director. And I cover certain areas of the state in that capacity, but yeah.
So you're still performing those roles in addition to state director?
Regional captain, I still perform.
Regional captain,
but not district captain anymore. I did give that one up.
Okay. How many district captains do you have in the state of Michigan now?
That's a good question. Off the top of my head, I do not know. We've been adding. I can tell you that we have about 25 House districts covered.
Oh, do you? Okay. Out of how many?
Out of 110.
110. Okay. Well, we have 100 here in Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those have multiple district captains working together because they're large land masses.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. Okay. Yeah. All right. So you're still doing the region captain, and how long you been now? How long you been state director?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. Okay. Well, let's get into then. What does the future hold for Michigan? What I know Ken wants you to do something with Governor Whitmer, but besides that,
she would definitely win an arm wrestling contest, Dale. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, she'd and Whitmer would have to give in and just say, "Okay, I give."
With 6 children, she's got to be pretty strong, I would.
That's
think.
Right. That's right.
Think? Yeah. What are some goals that you have set for yourself? For have you? I think I asked you this once before. Have you had your strategy meeting yet, or is it in process? I believe
it's in process. We continue to talk about it over time. I would say one of the big goals for the state is I would like to have household recognition. And I think that's probably true across the country. I mean, for us in Michigan, at least, if you go to the grocery store and you turn to the person next to you in line and say, "You heard of Convention of States?" your answer is probably going to be no. And I would like that to change. I would like that to be yes.
Okay. So how do you, any ideas as to how you're going to bring that about?
We are working very heavily with our media team. And much like you, we're working on a podcast and constantly looking at social media. And we have YouTube now, and we're working on that and just trying to figure out what's the best medium to start reaching more people. Yeah. And what is it that the people are looking for? So that's definitely a big part of the plan when it comes to household recognition, and that will take us a little while, but that's
Yeah, it's all
definitely
part of growing the grassroots. It's all part of that, growing the grassroots. Yeah. What else? What else you got on your mind then?
I would really like us to pass a faithful delegate bill in Michigan. I think that would be very, very helpful. I think that Convention of States really is a nonpartisan issue. But I think that when you get into the nitty gritty of talking about it, both sides often get distracted with concerns that are covered in a faithful delegate bill. And so I would really like to see us just pass one that both sides of the aisle are happy with, and then we can talk about Convention of States. Something
Kind of
along.
explain to viewers what you mean by faithful delegate.
Yeah, it's kind of a general term we use to refer to a bill that normally establishes things like how the commissioners that are sent to the actual Article 5 convention are selected. The Constitution doesn't specify how that's done. That's left in the hands of the state legislature. But unless the state legislature has already passed some form of legislation to specify how that will be done, and some states have, that isn't normally on the books. And Michigan is one of the states that doesn't have it on the books yet. And so that leaves a lot of questions in people's minds. How would the commissioners be selected? Would both sides of the aisle have any input into it? What would be the limitations on the commissioners? That's another thing that can get covered in a faithful delegate bill, is things like saying that the commissioners have to only propose amendments on the topics that they're commissioned to cover. And obviously that's kind of implied legally through what the Constitution gives us, and the court systems have backed that up with every ruling they've made on Article 5. But having it in writing in a bill in your state definitely gives everyone a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah, and that's very important. That's very important. Well, we're just about out of time. Let's write. Anything else on your mind as far as goals are concerned?
We need to empower our volunteers and the people to take back stewardship of this country. It's not just about passing Article 5 and fixing the structural problems in our country. It's about us as citizens changing how we are to being stewards again of what God has made us stewards of actually holding our legislators accountable, interacting with what's going on, and being aware. And that's what's really going to help save this country in the long run.
Amen to that, brother.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah. It is, Sara. What you're saying is a very perfect example of people. We're all about holding a convention of states for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution, but we're much more than that too. And self-governance comes into play. Being involved in your country, in your city, state, whatever it might be. Getting off the couch and getting involved. So that's all what we're about. Well, Sara, I do want to tell everybody, if you have any other questions for Sara, or if you want to contact her in any way, please feel free to send us an email to our email address, raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. And especially if you live in Michigan and you're interested and you want to reach out to Sara, or you want her to reach out to you, if you're interested, let us know. We'll provide Sara the information, and you can do that by sending us an email at raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. So, Sara, thank you very much for coming on this evening. And we'll let you get back to your other major duties that you have. All right.
Thank you.
Take care, Sara.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Yeah, Dale, I think that's definitely a challenge coin recipient in the works there. I agree with you.
I would agree. And let me go ahead and just put in a plug here, Dale, at the end of as you were wrapping up that segment as far as self-governance. I want to remind people, tomorrow is election day. It is time to get out and vote. Do your civil duty that way. Take a neighbor and talk COS. So tomorrow's one of those days where we can actually do something else as well. So if you can combine that and get out, do your duty, vote, but take somebody with you, and certainly talk a lot about COS.
There you go. All right. Good idea. All right. Let's take a little break here. We've got, Ken, we've got a John's Journal segment, that video that I'd like to play. Sure. And I think it's kind of applicable, quite honestly, to what's going on. So let's bring that on, and then we'll come back. And I want to show everyone a recorded interview that I did with one of our region captains, Cheryl Schopmeyer. And Cheryl, I think, has pulled off a first for us here in Indiana. So we'll tell you more about that very shortly. So, okay?
Good enough.
Here we go.
John Ackerman for Convention of States, Indiana. Thomas Sowell, that great thinker and writer, is quoted as having written, "Some Americans will never appreciate America until after they have helped destroy it and have then begun to suffer the consequences." Words of wisdom from Thomas Sowell. And I've been thinking recently about some, not all, of the younger generations. You hear about this Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. I can't keep it all straight in my mind. I'm still stuck in the baby boom generation, which is what I am. I'm a baby boomer. But some, not all, of the people in the younger generations are clamoring for full socialism. I hope they never get it, because that would be the end of our republic. But if they do ever get it, then they'll be sorry. Then they'll be subject to the consequences of their own ideology. Recently read a book from a man who escaped communist China. He's a Uyghur. He was in that province. I think it's the Sichuan province. My Chinese is really poor. And he got out before the big clampdown. And he writes about the total loss of freedom. How the citizens there are required by the government to carry a smartphone with them at all times. And the government knows where they go, what they do, who they spend their time with, how they spend their money, everything. Their lives are totally controlled. And if the government doesn't like what they're doing, they're sent off to a re-education camp. I hope and pray that those who don't appreciate America never get what they want. If they do, you and I will lose all of our freedom, and they will lose their freedom too, because then they will be living under the thumb of a government as bad as the Chinese communists. Let that sink in.
Well, okay, we always seem to have a little problem with the audio syncing with the video on these. I don't know what it is.
Some of that struggle, and you just there's not a whole lot you can do, Dale. It's.
I mean, it doesn't do that in rehearsing for this, so I don't know why. But anyway, I hope everyone caught. I thought John did a good job on that. Hope everyone was able to catch it all right. So, all right. Well, let's move on now to our next segment. This is, like I said, this is one of our region captains, Cheryl Schopmeyer. And Cheryl's going to talk about her, what she did on Constitution Day. So let me play this video, and we'll be back to you shortly. Well, hello, everyone. My name's Dale Parrish, and this segment we decided to record because this young lady is sometimes hard to get a hold of. So we got her cornered this time, and this I believe you're going to enjoy this. This I think is a first for Convention of States in Indiana, but we'll get into that very, very soon. Let me bring on Cheryl Schopmeyer. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Dale. How you doing?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, I've kind of set the stage a little bit for you here.
Okay.
What Cheryl is going to talk to us about today is Constitution Day, which was officially September 17th of this year. But you told me that happened to be on a Sunday. So what you did, you had to do on a Monday, right?
Correct.
But the 17th is officially, and this is a federally recognized day, I believe, isn't it?
It is. All schools that receive federal funding have to recognize and in some way something about the Constitution on the 17th. And of course, if it happens to fall on a Sunday, which it did this year, they're going to do it on either the Friday before or the Monday after.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, let's just kind of set the stage here. Cheryl, you're region captain, right?
I am. Yes.
Region 7, which kind of give people a little idea where Region 7 is in the state. Just
okay. Well, it includes Avon, Perrysville to the north, Crawfordsville, Odin to the south, Linton, those areas, Terre Haute, Bowling Green is where I live, and
Clay City.
Clay City, yes.
Okay. All right. So you're right down kind of in the heart of the state there.
Yes.
So you've been region captain there. How long have you been region captain now?
Oh gosh, I think it's been 2 years.
Has it been that long? Holy smokes.
Oh, well, maybe a year and a half. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I think it's been 2 years.
Okay. We'll go with 2 years. That's
okay.
Well, what you did, tell everybody what you did here, because before we get to that, I do want to mention Cheryl is one of our volunteers that really took self-governance to heart this past year, and you got yourself elected to the Clay County School Board, right?
Yes, for Clay Community Schools, yes.
Clay Community Schools. So let's see. I think did we have one other volunteer get elected to a school board? I can't remember if it was one or two more.
I don't know for sure.
Okay, but I know we were all excited that Cheryl won her election there. So,
I was pretty excited too.
So we mentioned this because this may have had something to do with what you were able to pull off here. But anyway, now Constitution Day, as we mentioned, was officially September 17th.
Yes.
But you managed to pull off a first here in the state of Indiana, to my knowledge, for Convention of States, Indiana. You are the first one to actually get into a school, right? And you got into Clay City High School, right?
Yeah, I just simply called up the principal. Actually, I think I sent him an email. But anyway, I met with him ahead of time and shared with him what materials that I would have. And told him I was going to focus on Article 5. And I wanted to talk to the seniors because they're closest to voting age. And there were 3 classes at Clay City that met that criteria. So I shared with him the information. A lot of it came from this book here, The Catechism on the Constitution, which is actually published in 1828 and actually used in elementary schools for educating students on the Constitution.
Okay, so did he know anything? Was he aware or was he familiar with the Constitution, familiar with Article 5?
Yeah, actually, well, maybe not Article 5 specifically, but he was pretty familiar. He was a social studies teacher before he became a principal. So we had a really great conversation, and he approved all the materials that I used. I got some of it from Patriot Academy, some of it from Wall Builders. And I just started asking questions when I arrived in this classroom. And it was an awesome experience. I highly recommend it if you can get into the schools to do it. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I tell you, my hat's off to you that you pulled this off. I may have told you this. I did a couple years ago. Well, it's been more than a couple years ago. One of my granddaughters in the middle school that she attended as an 8th grader, she was part of the We the People program, and I was selected as one of the parent volunteers to come in and participate in a presentation that these classes did, and got to ask some questions, about the Constitution and so forth. So it was really a great experience. So I'm sure you experienced the same thing. It was very heartwarming to. Did you get any questions that were a surprise to you, or?
No, I actually.
Either way, good or bad.
Well, I actually thought the students were very attentive. They were very respectful. There were some that just sat there the whole time and didn't say anything, of course. I mean, you always get that in a classroom, but there were some that were very well informed. And I think the teacher the classroom that I was in, I think she actually uses that test for citizenship that immigrants take in order to become a citizen. I think she uses that in her classroom to some degree.
So what was the class? It wasn't a Constitution class. It was
no, they were government classes, and I think one of them might have been an econ class, because they split that up.
Okay.
They do econ one semester and then government the other.
Yeah, I've seen it. Different schools organize it in different ways.
Right.
Okay, that's so. How many kids? How many kids? You spoke to 3 classes, right?
Yeah.
So how many kids in total do you think you interacted with that day?
Oh, I'm gonna say probably 35 or 40.
Really?
One of the classes was really small. And then, of course, that's because of their scheduling and, their other classes and so forth. But it was a really good experience, and I look forward to doing it again next year. And again, hopefully I'll get to do that at the other high school as well.
Okay. Now, how big a high school is Clay City High School? Do you know how many?
It's not that big. Like last year, they graduated only 55 seniors.
Okay.
That helps you.
Okay. All right. Good. Now, tell me, I know you mentioned this when we talked before. You mentioned this Hillsdale College quiz. Tell me how that came into play here.
Okay. Well, of course, I was scrolling Facebook, and this quiz came up from Hillsdale College, and it was 10 questions about the Constitution. I thought, oh, okay, I'm paying for this. So I clicked on it, and I took the quiz, and I got them all right. But it was probably because I had been focusing on the Constitution and learning, about not just Article 5, all of it. And I think, if I remember their statistics correctly, that 67% of Americans cannot even pass the test they give for citizenship.
Now, was this Hillsdale College quiz? Was this the test that is?
Well, it was questions from that test, and it was like a sample of what the people would take in order to qualify a citizen.
Okay.
Things like how many branches of government are there?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, were you able to utilize this quiz at all in your presentation to the classes, or?
No, I actually found that after the fact. I think it would be interesting, though, to use that for next time.
Yeah.
But again, I used a lot of material from Patriot Academy. They had actually had a PowerPoint presentation. It was more geared towards elementary, so I kind of took some of the information out of there and put it into my own questioning and just shared as much information as I could. And of course, I had my Article 5 pamphlets there on Convention of States, and most of them thought that a convention had already happened. Because I asked them if they knew how many amendments there were, and they guessed all kinds of numbers, which was kind of cool because they were actually answering. Even if they were wrong, it was still a good interaction. But you know, the Constitution has only been amended, 27 times? So how many times did Congress do that? This is what I asked them. And how many times was it done by the states? And they actually thought the states had done it. So.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Can you think of some other questions that you asked?
That I used? I asked, of course, how many articles the Constitution has. I still have my notes from that day. What type of government did the Constitution establish? And, you know, a lot of times politicians are saying, you know, this is a democracy. This is a democracy. Well, it is not. Democracy is, by definition, is mob rule. We do not have that in the United States. Well, we kind of do because they're not following the Constitution. Sad to say. And I asked them things like, you know, have you ever heard of original intent? We have so many cases that are used to establish precedent when in actuality, the original intent of the Constitution pretty much explains how things are supposed to be done. And we take things out of context, and, you know, the courts start legislating, and the president does all these executive orders, which I totally do not agree with. I asked them which branch is the most powerful. And you wouldn't think that would be the right question to ask, but the truth is the most written about branch is the legislative branch. Yeah. So it is in essence the most powerful branch. So it's, you know, especially the House is the closest to the people. But anyway, I asked them what freedoms we had guaranteed by the First Amendment, and they got most of them right.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
So it was encouraging.
Did the teacher, not the principal, but the teacher, what he or she, did they like your presentation? I mean,
I think so. She stayed in the room the whole time. The principal came in and listened to one of my presentations, and he participated. And I thought it went really, really well.
Good.
And I would gladly do it again.
Well, I bet you would. And I hope you do get a chance. So to wind things up here, to wrap things up here, I think you mentioned this a little earlier, but next year, your goal is?
Both schools.
Yeah. There's 2 high schools in Clay City?
In Clay County.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one in Clay City and there's one in Brazil.
Is the one in Brazil a larger school?
Yes, much larger.
Is it much larger?
Yeah.
Well, see, you get to practice and warm up in the smaller school, and now next year you'll be ready for the big school. Huh?
Yes, I will be ready.
Well, good, Cheryl. I think you've set the stage here, and hopefully there'll be other volunteers in the state that will follow your path, and we'll get more people out there on the 17th of September every year. So
Yeah, well, I
Sure.
think it's good to start with the kids because they're going to be voting sooner than we think.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Cheryl, just on behalf of the state of Indiana, thank you very much for what you did, and good job. And I certainly hope we're pulling for you for next year to get to meet your goals.
Thank you.
Well, I had an enjoyable time with Cheryl.
Very interesting. Very interesting. You know, Dale, if they would allow it, and I don't know whether they would or not, based on obviously identifications, but it would be even if they don't show the kids in the class, it'd be neat if somebody could video her doing that next year.
Yeah. Well, we need to have more volunteers reaching out and getting into schools where the schools would allow somebody to come in and do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's quite an achievement on her part. So
very much so.
Let's move on to our final segment this evening, Ken, and we're going to bring in our own state director. So we have to say nice things about him now, okay?
Yeah.
And he's going to give us an update on how things look here in the state through the end of October. So let's bring on our own state director, Dale Tipton. Hello, Dale.
Hello, fellas. Two of my very favorite guys in the whole state right there.
Oh, my. I don't know. He wants something, Ken. I can tell.
Good. Come on. Good way to come on there, Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
But I whatever you're going to ask Ken to do, I fully support that.
Yeah. I gave him the list earlier, Dale, so you're on it more than I am. Really.
Am I on
That's
it
right.
too? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I had coffee with Gary Harbaugh, Dale, and we've got something for you now.
Okay, folks, that's kind of a private joke, but we'll leave it there. Okay.
Gary's listening in tonight too, so I know he's a viewer. Yeah.
He'll know.
All right, Dale. Tell us about how things look as in the state as of the end of October. Got a couple of graphs here. If you want me to, let me know when you want me to bring them up.
Yeah, well, sure. Why don't you go ahead and start with the report or the graph for October?
Okay, I'm going to do a full screen here. We're not leaving, folks. We're still here. Just trying to get you to see this a little bit better. Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, it's still kind of hard to see, but basically what we're looking at is a report that that talks about the action reports that are filed by Convention of States volunteers. And so every time that somebody does something specifically, they'll file an action report. So maybe they received a block of training, maybe they did a town hall, maybe they met with a legislator. Anything that you do that's COS related, you can file an action report for it. And so this basically compiles information from all of the districts, and it gave us a total of 225 action reports for the month of October. And then we recognize, some of the individual standouts. For example, Robert Suarez, Diane Jones, Gary Spielman, Charles Cronau, and Greg Coleman this time. So that gives us a feel as leaders what is going on in the state of Indiana, and then these statistics are also compiled with COS National so that this information can be made available to people who would be donors or prospective donors to show that their money is actually buying action within Convention of States.
Yeah, I can see there are Region 7, Vicki Mooring.
Region 5.
That's Region 5, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's they've been very, very active in the month of
Vicki's
October.
got a very productive region. So October brought us up to 68,900 total supporters. We were up 267. And then we have 65,004 petition signers when we were up 269.
Okay. All right.
One of the other things of interest this month, Convention of States has a monthly donors program. And And so we also found out that there are currently in the state of Indiana, there are 117 monthly donors. So that people that are, getting out the credit card or the wallet or whatever every single month and contributing to Convention of States. And it's our goal to increase that going forward.
That's an interesting number. I don't ever recall tracking that in any way. We didn't talk about this, but how do you become a donor? Is there a specific way to become a donor?
Yeah, it's it's available at the Convention of States website.
Is it okay?
And they have a button there to donate. And then once you get in that area, you have the ability to donate either one time or to become a monthly donor. And so basically, matter of fact, I was in a meeting just a couple days ago that Mark Meckler was conducting, and we've got just a little over 5,000 monthly donors across the nation, and he would like to get that up to 10,000. And so that's the goal. And the reason that is important, just like running any kind of a business, Convention of States has expenses. People fly places to talk, and there's all kinds of things, technical things, computer things, and all that kind of stuff that has to be supported. And so if they have approximately 10,000 monthly donors, then they will be able to very closely project what the income is going to be.
Right.
And so that allows them to project a budget, which then they can then follow. Otherwise, it's at the whims of whatever mood the donors are in. It's up one month, down the next, and you know what kind of issues that can cause an organization. So.
And I'm sure you can, as a donor, you can set whatever amount that you feel comfortable that you can donate on a monthly basis, right?
Yeah. In the Patriot Club, what they're asking people to do is donate $31 a month. That's the one that I do. And so, that's, $1 a day, basically.
Yeah. 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 We're a nonprofit organization. We have to rely on donations. So,
well, it's to be involved as an activist, it takes two things, either time or money. And if you're a really lucky activist, you get to contribute both, but it takes both to go forward. And if you think about the opposition on the left that would like not see a Convention of States take place, they have a lot of people in the tech world that are donating, millions of dollars to, fund their side of the story. And so we try to do the same thing. And it takes a lot of small donations for us to be successful.
All right. Well, Dale, let's wrap up here, and we're going to bring you back every month. Give us an update on the status of the state as of the end of the prior month. And I know one thing that we did in October, and that was we held our strategy meeting, right, for 2024, and we've come up with some goals and objectives that we want to strive to accomplish in 2024. So I want to bring you on once we get those finalized and massaged, and I think we're pretty close to having that done. Am I right?
That is published.
Yes. And we'll bring you on again on a later broadcast, and so you can kind of review that with everyone to let everyone know what we're going to try and strive to achieve in 2024. So
you bet. And just in closing, a couple of key things in October, of course, is the new House Speaker Mike Johnson, who is a Convention of States advocate, and that will have positive effects for Indiana and across the nation. And then second is a full-throated endorsement from the Heritage Foundation. And so it's been a very good month for Convention of States nationally that will trickle down to assist every state that's involved in the fight.
I want to give you a chance to, let's bring up the Take Action page from the website, give you a chance to talk a little bit about how to become a volunteer and some of the opportunities we have. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. So anybody that goes to conventionofstates.com, there's a tab at the very top that says Take Action that you can see right there. And once you get to the Take Action tab, you'll see Mark Meckler, our president and co-founder, who will tell you a little bit about what's going on. And then underneath that are a large variety of positions that we have available for volunteers. And so whether you're the leader type or the follower type, whether you're quiet or you like to be out front meeting people, whether you have computer skills or don't, there is something there for absolutely everybody. We have an active prayer team in Indiana that prays for goals and support for people that are they're in need of help, suffering from family health issues, etc., to all the way to trying to get a particular bill passed, or for a given state to get the resolution signed. Prayer backs up all of those things. And so if you're a person of religious faith, that's an easy one to jump into. We have volunteers that can make what we call telepatriot calls that can bounce us into assisting other states that are trying to get their resolutions signed to activate their people. Easy to do, a few minutes a day. So whether you've got 10 minutes a day or whether you got 10 hours a week, we can find a place for you. And so it's all right there for you to review. And it's with a click, you can submit a very short application, answer a few questions, and then a state leader will come in contact with you and get the ball rolling. So it's, we're looking for people. People are worried about many, many things, but generally people in the United States, especially I think people on the conservative side, are not used to the idea of being an activist or getting out on the street and actually doing something. We talk about getting up off the couch, quit watching TV, and actually, do something to make things happen. And that's what we're about. And all of these different actions that all these people that are described here, that transfers into those action reports we talk about at the very beginning. And that's what creates action. That's what spreads information. That's what makes things happen. So that's our goal.
That's one of the roles here is a volunteer activist. So that can be something in your own city, in your community, whatever it might be. School board, like Cheryl Schopmeyer is doing. So
yeah, and essentially, Dale, we're all activists, right? But we don't think about ourselves necessarily in that way. So we just have to change it. We just have to change that a little bit. It's all, I mean, whether we're voting or going to a county council meeting or volunteering, block walking for Convention of States to pass out information, it all helps, and it all helps spread the word. And you find out that once you get on the street and you actually meet with people, we're a lot alike. You go through the different neighborhoods, people have the same worries and concerns that we do. I mean, the grocery bills are getting harder to pay, the energy bills are getting harder to pay, and the people are looking for answers. And we would like to tell them that we believe that a Convention of States to propose amendments to the Constitution will be a key to fixing many of these problems.
Yep. Well, let me show our email address one more time. If you have a comment or question about the broadcast for myself, Ken, or Dale Tipton, shoot us an email, raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. We'll get it to the proper person. So, well, Dale, thank you very much for your update, and look forward to getting your update for November. And we want to bring you back and talk about the goals for 2024. So
we will certainly do that. I appreciate the work you guys are doing, and your raises are in the mail.
Hey, did you hear that, Ken?
I did. It's recorded.
Christmas bonus, probably, huh? All right.
Keep up the good work, Dale T.
Thank you, Dale.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good. Ken, why don't you take another minute here and remind people of this QR code up here, okay?
Okay. Well, if you've enjoyed what you heard tonight or other podcasts that we've had, the little QR code right there, that little QR code will get you a subscription to our channel. COS Indiana Live will be able to get you updates on upcoming programming and any other of the important things that come through this channel. We certainly want to grow the channel and support it, just like Dale T was talking about. We are nonprofit. Dale doesn't pay me very much at all to do this. So, 100% of your subscription will go completely to supporting our channel. And we'd ask you to share that. And there's another neat little tidbit about technology. That little QR code, even after this program is done being live and it's recorded, you'll find the recorded versions on YouTube as well as Facebook. That little QR code keeps working. So if you're viewing this at this point on the recorded side of things and not live, get your camera out and hit that QR code. It'll still get you your subscription. Isn't it? Technology is amazing.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. Even though it's recorded, it'll still work. It's working 24 hours a day.
That's amazing. That little piece of technology continues to amaze me.
I know you're still probably not using it at your local restaurants, are you?
I'm not. No, I'm not. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
All right, Kent. Well, let's start winding things up here, and I want to talk a little bit about our next broadcast, which is November 13th, next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We got a great lineup here for November 13th. We're going to have the state director from Alabama, Murray Edwards, is going to come on, talk about their new center studio, their new broadcast that they're.
I'm excited about that. Yeah,
they're kicking it off this month, aren't they? In the month.
I'm excited about that. Yeah, that sounds great.
We're working with Christy Stutzman, who was one of our commissioners, to come on and talk to us about a new book that she has written, and it has to do with the spiritual price. I won't go into any more details on it, but it's a very, very interesting book. I think we're going to try and bring her on to do that, and we're going to bring on one of our new district captains. We always try to bring on new district captains, and this is Daryl. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Bierman, I guess. Bierman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Supposed to be very interesting person for us to talk to. Like I said, we always try to introduce new leaders in the state, so you get a chance to meet him. Our next roundtable is November 27th. We haven't got a topic quite yet determined for that. Should be getting that finalized this week, as a matter of fact. So
there you go, and that'll be something that should go out in our subscription letter. So
that's right. Yep.
Yep.
So the next roundtable is November 27th. All right.
Yep.
Well, Ken, that's a wrap for tonight. We're going to wrap things up with a Mark Meckler video that we like to play. Never Stop Fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And once that video ends, then the broadcast will end.
But Dale, before you play that, I want to get one more plug in for Election Day tomorrow to make sure people get out and vote on November 7th. But I did also want to plug November 6th was another very special day today, and that happens to be, I got to get a shout out to my wife. We are celebrating our 47th anniversary today, so November 6th is a good day.
I'm sorry, I forgot all about that.
No problem. I just want to get that quick shout out and let her know that what I'm doing up here pays dividends.
And it's a good thing you didn't forget about it.
That's why I had to get the plug in.
You wanted to prove it, huh?
That's right.
There's proof that you remembered it. Okay,
that's right.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay. Well, once again, we're gonna play this video for you. That'll be it for the evening. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in this evening, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday, same time, 7 p.m. Facebook, our State Convention of States Indiana Facebook page, or our YouTube channel, Patriots for Indiana Convention of States. So, Ken, have a good evening.
See you there.
And we will get going here as soon as I can figure out how to do this here.
Yeah,
so,
push the button.
Here we go.
I struggle to empathize with people who would give up. It doesn't make sense to me. Sam Adams said, for those of you who prefer safety and security over liberty, over the animating fight for liberty, I hope that you Enjoy licking the hands that feed you. May your chains rest lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you are our countrymen. Like, do you understand that your kids and you are sentencing your kids and your grandkids and your friends' kids and your neighbors' kids to a lifetime of slavery and servitude, literally, of fear, of living in the darkness? But never, ever, never, never, never give up. George Washington lost the majority of his battles that he fought in the American Revolution. If you read his writings, if you read the letters where he was writing to Congress asking for money and troops, he was saying, we're losing. I don't have the troops I need. I don't have the supplies I need. Did he quit? What about the guys on the beach at Normandy? Like, what did they do? Did they just quit? Oh, there's, a lot of guys are dying around me. It's really bad. It looks really dismal. Those cliffs are huge. Machine gun fire raining down on us. And it's too hard. We should just quit. Thank God those people didn't quit. If they had, where would we be? I get discouraged, for sure. And I will quit fighting at some point. And that point is when the first shovel of dirt hits the top of my box 6 feet down.